And because it's oversized,
The reason I asked that
yeah.
is because right now I just left the house. The same thing. It's block, styrofoam, drywall, roof is sprayed, so it's a sealed system. We got 600 square feet maybe, a little mini split system, size, ton and a half at the most. Maybe it's a ton. It's cold. It's 5 degrees colder in that room all the time, but more humid. That's what I deducted today. That's gonna be what this is. Too sealed. So it's something we need to think about with this. Is get this a DU in addition.
Inside the AC,
So
as
it's
part
really
of the
good.
AC.
As part of the system.
Sometimes, yes, with the AC. From the little bit that I've read, is that
The problem is if the AC doesn't run often enough, it won't dry out.
but some, I've heard that they can, that you can have an AC, usually get a unit, still run the blower from the HVAC system. Run the blower, and it takes a little more air, more air flow over the blower, not like the the system. Yeah. I'm sure they're getting better and better. And maybe the mini splits, maybe in that case, maybe mini splits aren't the answer. But efficient in terms of but in this house, you will feel whether you're, because there's so much thermal mass, you won't notice much different than one room versus another. Even for us, we live in a 40-foot hemisphere, and I know. And when we're upstairs or down, we don't notice any difference. You'd think because of the more area, it's more of an attic. I don't notice the different temperature from upstairs and down. Our upstairs is more of a, almost an attic.
Their marketing material.
But
Yeah, that's the only way we're gonna get more of these done,
He
right?
likes talking about it, and he does what he's
Good,
talking about.
well, I was
Good.
excited enough to that I wanted my own, and so then I learned from them. I started working for them so that I could build my own house because I wanted one bad enough.
Absolutely.
So.
We have come this close to building it herself.
But the disaster, the other thing too is, my wife is from Idaho. We hardly ever have tornadoes. But last year we had 2 storms that came through. We were under construction, living in a camper next to our dome house. And we have young children. And she said, "Kids, go into the dome. Go into the dome." And we saw bad clouds. Her sister even had hail damage, and they had some bad.
They went into the dome for refuge.
They went into the dome for refuge. Another place too. I lived in Puerto Rico for 2 years, and I actually lived in part of the area where they had some bad earthquakes. You would think with concrete's heavy, that could be dangerous. When you have a concrete shell that's a sphere, the amount of shape, you don't have any
Shape.
point loads with an earthquake. So
Oh,
earthquakes as
interesting. So
well.
it
you have-
diffuses.
Yeah, hi.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm Thomas Culhane, professor at the USF Patel College of Global Sustainability and a close colleague and friend of Eric's who let me know about this in the hopes that
Wonderful.
we could
From
share it with our
USF,
students.
People from USF. Yay!
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they can do these homes for disaster areas
Yeah.
also. That's the most
And-
important for me.
Absolutely.
And in southern Florida, it's much more common to build with concrete.
Yes.
But my only issue with that is they build an awesome foundation, great walls. What about the roof?
Oh, they don't
Yeah.
do
The
that
roof
right in
gets pulled
Florida.
off.
Yeah,
No,
and
yes,
everything is
the
lost.
codes have become much more strict.
They
with
they
Hurricane Andrew,
loosen.
but-
They loosen the codes again.
Did they?
You know,
This-
unfortunately.
This is more than they put on the roof now, right here.
Yeah, oh, I think they increased the nail pattern a little bit.
Yeah, and you miss 3 nails and it's not up to code.
Yeah.
And then they get, they hire $3 an hour people with nail guns.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, that's great. I'm sure the codes have
That's not true.
increased.
Anymore.
I'll tell you right now.
Not
He's
$3.
the builder.
it's
Right.
$5.
Because the
No,
codes
it's
are
probably
much more strict. It can handle
Jonathan
$20
Davis. What's your
an hour.
name?
I'm sorry, I'm Thomas
average
Culhane.
labor.
Tom?
Thomas. They call me TH.
Okay, TH.
You can call me TH.
So when
Yeah,
you
nice to
talk
meet you.
about
Hi, I'm
this-
TH.
Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis.
Pleasure to meet you.
Can we have you?
I didn't bring one, but I can give you my information. I'm the director of the Climate mitigation and adaptation
being
program
covered
at
now.
USF.
No, it's just we have it
And I can
inflated.
write it down
This
for
is
you.
When we inflate it, it'll
because
lift
it
that-
really is
that
for disaster.
steel
They have
bar.
people all over the world, and
Yeah.
it's very inexpensive to almost the people
The
that
companies.
I've been learning
Some
about these
industries
from
built
Dr. David
a
Randall for the past
dome
4 years.
It's wonderful. I met him.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
They were on the news
Yeah, so,
as well for that.
Tell me
The
you-
building-
So TH, that's how people know me, T period, H period.
Steel ring.
And then Culhane is C-U-L,
They were on a
H,
strict,
C-U, sorry, it's a U.
time frame. to
Uh-huh,
get the building
C-U-L-H.
done. So they inflated the building. It was 180,
A,
I think, foot diameter building. The whole
N-E.
gymnasium, the walls went up and,
And
the roof
that's
went up
at usf.edu.
45 minutes.
That
At
And then
USF,
the
well, at
masons were able to work on
usf.edu.
the exterior
Mhm.
masonry wall while they were
And I'm the director of the
building the inside.
mitigation and adaptation concentration at the Patel
So that's
College.
what you're planning on doing.
mitigation,
Yeah.
climate. Okay,
Climate
So once the
mitigation,
foam
right,
goes
at
on,
the
it
Patel
reaches
College of
polyurethane
Global
foam.
Sustainability.
It's pretty rigid. It probably
Mhm.
could stand on its own.
And
But if
I'm,
we had some
I'm
wind,
teaching the
you could-
course on
you-
climate
you're
mitigation
quite
adaptation. I
capable.
teach the
So it's
course
not
on,
just
I to take
oh,
some
you're
of
welcome.
it.
You can come in anytime. You can just sit in if you want, or you can take
Because
it.
I'm 74.
74? Yeah, you don't look 74.
You know
You're in
what,
good
and it's
health.
because I can go free.
Yeah, yeah, you should then.
You're welcome.
Do
You're
it.
most welcome.
Also, Food, Energy, Water Nexus course, which is tomorrow night.
Food and energy, that's what I
Yeah.
want to have an organic garden.
Yeah.
And
And these
everything
little
around
metal
here is
rods,
going
these
to be
little
edible.
thin rods are
Yeah.
what we
And I
use
don't care if
to
people
tie
stop
our
and pick
rebar,
up
and then we tie
tangerines or whatever.
rebar for
You're going to be a
it.
trailblazer. When Eric said what you're doing here on your property, we thought this is something, with your permission, we'd like the entire student body, not just in our college, but all of USF. We had our sustainability social last night for the public health, anthropology, sociology.
I was in the PhD of anthropology,
Ah.
but I
Because of the
anthropology long time ago.
Well, you're,
We have to talk.
you must.
definitely.
So you won't even see
Yeah, so I have you. I will pass it on into an
Yeah, and let me give you my telephone number
Yes,
too.
go
We'll
ahead.
just see the bottom side of it.
813?
Because the
917.
vertical wall is
It's a
going
New York
here,
number.
and we have a
592.
3-foot overhang, just a 3-foot.
And then
so
5922.
the distance of the pipe.
Okay, great. And I can text in this phone?
Yes, texting is preferred because I'm usually out working with my hands and I
this
can't
is-
answer the phone.
Excellent. You
call
are
our
most
airlock.
welcome. I
So
really
we
you.
can
do.
Your name is
But your
Ken?
first name.
There are
Your
two
first name
doors.
is
It's Thomas Henry.
Thomas.
Okay, call me
Thomas.
TH. It's
Yeah.
an
You
old
like a
family-
TH?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
give it a
TH.
call.
That
And
will
your
allow
first
us to
name?
go in and
Maria
out.
Antonieta
Just
Rebelo.
logo over
Maria
that.
Antonieta. If you can say Maria Antonieta, great.
Maria
If no-
Antonieta.
Not stretched
Okay.
out.
You said it perfect.
Sorry.
Beautiful.
There's too much tension.
¿Hablas español?
Claro, por
Okay.
supuesto.
Mi madre es árabe de Irak.
Qué lindo, me voy para Abu Dhabi a ver,
Abu Dhabi?
a ver las ciudades del futuro.
Ya. Yo fui aquí.
Hoy tenemos que hablar.
Ya. Y mi abuela fue de Líbano. Mi padre
La familia es
irlandés.
excelente, me encanta.
Sí.
Tenía un novio que era de Lebanon. Oh, gosh.
Pero yo he nacido aquí en los Estados Unidos y yo trabajé mucho tiempo en Guatemala, en la selva en el
And we can
Petén.
adjust the airflow
Me ha
inside
llevado
by
allá.
cutting out little sections,
Sí,
little
a
holes, just
enseñar energy
where we need for
things.
ventilation.
Yeah.
And then
All
also
right.
we have what we
DJ,
call
I'm
a
so
waste
glad
gate.
to meet you.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
in the fabric.
Yeah, we've been looking at these and teaching them in our program for 4 years. But I'd never had the chance to go and see one. I was saying, my wife is over there, the pregnant woman there in the gray. She's Palestinian
You were expecting a baby?
in May,
May.
in mid-May.
That is the month of the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
Very important. Very important.
And we wanted to build one of these, and we still have a plan to build one of these. It's just we don't know where yet because we're living on another property.
I can suggest you do not. This is a flooding area.
Yeah.
And because it's flooding area, it's very expensive. So when you find the line, look at flood. So and I didn't want to be by the road. I wanted so then I
So you built up.
smooth
Queen's
causeway.
Place.
So you can save a lot of dollars if you find
Yes.
flood.
So,
So that was intentional to lift
so
it up,
Maria
wasn't it?
indicates now
Yeah.
she has all her plans.
Yeah, you're gonna be underwater.
Now let's move this window 2 inches this way, okay? Take it off and you slide it over 2 inches and put it there. You just have to decide, is that the location you want? And then you,
Then it's done.
and then when it's all completed and the air is turned off, then they would cut where the fabric is cut around where the windows are.
So that's after fall,
And
after the concrete, after everything. So
So,
you really just have an outside surface that's fabric touching foam.
yes.
So if I bumped into it, I could dent the foam, and it looked like a bump on the side of our house.
Yep.
Really? Wow.
Tells you
Okay.
gets stucco or whatever. So yeah.
Oh, because is that what they
Or-
do? Is they cover it?
Yeah,
with
usually some type of a surface.
They don't leave the fabric out.
You can leave the fabric, and it has probably a 20-year life or so. UV will.
Right?
It's
Degrade it.
better the other way because it has more durability.
Oh, so you're gonna stucco
Yeah.
it or something when
Yes.
it's all done?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the maintenance will be much less.
But you'll keep the membrane inside for extra waterproofing, or you don't remove the membrane then?
No, the membrane
Yeah.
will stay there as a. Yep, he's turning on the fans.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Hope we're ready.
Oh, it's
Yeah, well, there we go.
It's on your feet. I saw him walking up and I was like, I'm gonna
Woohoo.
go to a party tonight or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I will do.
So is that gonna do the whole building or is it just half?
Yep, do the whole building.
Oh, so you gotta come over here and pick it up so
Well, I'm thinking.
you're gonna get wet.
Well, thinking initially they wanted. Yes.
Oh, you gotta put that on the
Well,
lift, huh?
to help you out. I think
This is so cool.
You want me to stick it on there when you... Can I walk across this?
So cool.
Hello. Rob?
I think we ought to.
So you guys would be the ones who would do more of these, or you already are doing them all over Florida?
This is the first one. This is the
Okay.
first one I've seen. It's definitely the first one in Hillsborough County.
Wow.
There might be, I think it's the first true story in Florida.
Now, you do a single inflate for both stories. You do the rest of the work inside all the framing and stuff. Is this then like, we've been teaching about these in our program at the Patel College of Global Sustainability at USF for the past about 6 years. And Dr. David Randall had been involved in building a bunch of these. And he showed us
I think go
videos.
up
So
with it, maybe.
after the inflate, they do foaming
want
on the
it to turn on the
inside
screws?
and then put the rebar and then do shotcrete, right?
That's what they do.
Okay. So it's the
the
same
screws?
procedure. It must be the same company from Texas, right? Ultimately,
Well, these guys are out of Idaho.
Idaho. Okay.
These guys actually, that man there, Randy, is the one that basically developed this system
Okay.
back in the 80s.
Back in that. Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll spread really rapidly here in Florida after you guys do this. Is it? What about lifetime savings?
not.
No? Oh, okay.
And everything else.
Oh, good, good. Oh, thank you. Gracias. Or she would say shukran. Look at that. So you just give it an assist because of the weight?
We knew the air. No, we knew the air would fill this one first.
But you got the wood frame on that?
Yeah, and so we did that so that it maybe wouldn't put so much stress on that, what we call weld mark.
Okay.
You have this material, this
Yep.
fabric is actually going all the way through both, and we only have a small opening where the air is going from this
Oh.
section to that section.
How big?
Otherwise, the air would go all the way through.
Right, oh, then it would never penetrate that. Oh, I
Right.
see.
But the reason we have this is to maintain shape. This dome actually has fabric going all the way around 360
Okay.
because she's going to have a wall. So we know that it's going to take a while for the air to fill up. So we'll see. It'll come up. This
But-
one's full. Now we're just pumping air into that
So
one.
is the wooden band there connecting two different pieces of materials? So that's why you have two-story? One is one story, one's the other, or no?
No, it's just because this will actually look different than a hemisphere like this.
Yeah.
This one will be a cylinder
Uh-huh.
with a low profile.
With a low
dome.
profile dome. Okay, cool. That's a lot of design.
So, nope, the air will bring it up. We only did this because we didn't want all the fabric, the weld from this material to that material, all that to be stretched.
Inas, this is a good picture over here. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, so do you need this? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we didn't cut the open. Put your can on the inside. Oh, really? Yeah, so we didn't cut the open. So when we cut the opening,
Well, then when you cut the opening and it starts to deflate, will you go in and then seal it to do the work inside and reinflate, or?
so we go through this airlock to go
Oh.
in and out.
I see.
And that's how we will work. We have to go in and out.
With an airlock. Are you available to work on Mars?
It's like the suit. Yeah. Kind of does. So then yeah. It's like the fertility god.
Inas, have you gotten still pictures?
ready to get that one out of here.
No, I don't know. Maybe we can get close to it.
Get to know Maria.
I've known her for years.
Oh wow.
Years and years, right? Lots of years. She was invited to one of our open houses.
Oh yeah, up in Rosebud.
Walks through everything. She invited a lot of her family that's here. Came
Oh okay.
Yeah, they hired me to help. Then she decided that I charged too much.
Oh.
She wanted me to put in all your stuff.
Oh, let's do it.
And I said, we need to design it. Here's her environmental engineer.
Cool.
You might want to meet. Have you met Maria? Have you chatted with her?
With who?
Maria.
Oh, just a second ago. Yeah.
So she knows who you are. And
She doesn't know my association with Rosebud. I don't think. She
Really?
knows I'm at USF.
Okay. Well, that's
Uh-oh, Rob. Oh, nice. You said uh-oh like sounded bad. That sounds actually good. What do you think? Oh, what's on it? Be in our face.
Now they're preparing the airlock.
Looks like we need to maybe shift the airlock that way a little bit. Randy can pick it and set it over here. A few feet. Under
What's
that.
the major factor that makes the cost so much higher? Is it labor? Is it materials?
Well, I just don't know
Time?
if it's centered at the opening. Yeah. Oh, hey, I can see that other side. Yeah,
Sure.
it's fine. Yeah.
I'm gonna show. I'm gonna talk about
I'm
that.
not sure how much.
I do a lot of shell work.
You know, this
Right.
is so tall that it seems
High
like
cost
this is low,
shell.
but it's really not.
Traditional concrete block,
Feel ready, man.
wood trusses,
No.
Right.
whatever. Is $33 a foot.
Uh-huh.
That includes the foundation. That includes maybe it's a little bit more if it's simple, but this not including the foundation because I did the foundation. We still got to pour the slab in here.
Okay.
Not including the foundation work, which is kind of substantial in this case.
Oh, because you had to build
Big
up above.
footers around
Yeah.
bad soil and everything else. Having to get it up out of floodplain. But not including that, just the airform, the foam, the spraying, the shotcrete, the reinforcement inside of it. Just that work, engineering, design, those guys come in. It's $96.
Wow.
So this is.
Right. But no expected lifetime savings. I mean, maybe lower insurance premiums in Florida with weather events or air conditioning.
Yeah.
So when would you have to really live in it for a long time to realize those
I
things?
mean, the payoff's not 10 years.
Right. So you have to have long-term vision if you're going to invest in something like this.
This is like, I'm going to live here for 30 years and I have some extra money to leave something
Right.
sustainable income.
So you don't expect it to penetrate very fast. The costs would have to come down. Because you're
There needs to be more access to people that are doing this. It's just new technology.
okay.
This is my first one building this.
Right. So do you think as your experience grows and others start jumping on, will there be a cost curve where it's going to come down and hit some reasonable price point? Do you think? Do you think are the materials themselves that much more expensive than a traditional house? If you were just to say, concrete and wood, and so because if material costs were somewhat stable,
I'm not sure it's a material cost.
okay, it really is the construction itself.
I think it's the construction and the technology.
Okay. So if that were to come down, like let's say that the forms and the membranes are all mass produced and you could get them at a reasonable price, and then you work out your workflow with your team where you could get it done in a certain number of days.
Yeah, certainly you can, their portion of this is not a long time. It's not. I don't have any idea what it costs.
Right.
I don't know if it's 20 grand, I don't know if it's 50 grand.
Right. So you're just speaking now from a budget cost in terms of
But just sticks and bricks
right.
cost
This costs
3
more.
times plus foundation.
Right. And that's a pretty substantial foundation. But
Facts.
yeah. If you were not, as she was telling me, Maria was saying, of course, don't build in a floodplain because a lot of the cost is mounting this up.
This is certainly a big boost in cost.
Yeah.
This stem wall, huge footers, spread footers with tons of rebar. I mean, this is but
Okay.
This on, just a monolithic slab, which a lot of these lots are above. If you're not floodplain, you don't have to worry about it.
Inch.
You can do a
Okay.
mono, even if it's a 20-inch, 24-inch mono.
Yeah.
So that figure that you're quoting me is really based on this experience in this site.
No,
That's
without taking this.
that's even without this.
I determined
Wow.
if it
Okay.
was right, I needed to say thank
It's
you.
good to know for our students. I appreciate it. You don't mind me sharing this with our students, do you? Okay. And what's your name?
Jonathan
Jonathan
Davis.
from Davis Property Solutions. There you are. Boom. Huge endorsement. USF community. You know where to
I
go.
wouldn't count on it, Rob.
All of you who are in our class in the climate change mitigation adaptation and food energy water nexus classes and envisioning sustainability classes, if this is something of interest, you know where to go. So Jonathan Davis from Davis Property Solutions, first time in Tampa. They're the people who have the experience on this incredible build. Does the material still give losses, or is it just, it does give losses, but you're not worried because you have enough positive pressure going in?
Yeah, right now, you mean air losses just around like...
Well, like right there when this is battened down.
There's enough airflow coming in. Eventually, we also, while we're doing the construction, we'll have vent air because we'll be spraying the concrete and other materials that we also want ventilation. So we adjust the fans accordingly. We have yet to put in another apparatus manometer.
Uh-huh.
So we'll stick a hose right here and put a little water in it. And that way we know exactly what
Oh, yeah.
the ideal pressure is 2 inches of water column.
2 inches water column, okay. Good to know. That's like 4 millibar, right? It's about 4 millibar. Yeah.
For us, it's kind of simple. We just look at the gauge and put a few little marks.
Right.
Okay.
It works.
Old school.
It's kind of like the kids' bounce house, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same level of pool build.
Yeah.
Can we follow you in?
Oh yeah, we just do one. Oh no, we still have to get our opening a little bit. Yeah. Oh, actually, yes, you can come
Says
in.
see.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and close this one.
Okay.
We can send you in. You can be the first.
Okay.
Since
On
we
behalf
got
of
you.
USF.
Yes.
All right. That's amazing. That is so cool. Oh, you're using a single blower right now.
Yeah. And rain or shine, we can still work in here.
Rain or
Rain
shine.
or shine, we can still work. And if the power goes out, then we'll turn our generator off.
He said rain or shine, they can do the work. Rain or shine, they can do the work. That's amazing. Florida, yeah. So whatever cost differential there is can be offset by the convenience by the time. This guy. So you were saying your story is you wanted one for your family in Idaho, and the way to do it was to join the company and get the training and then build it and become
I
one.
asked them, can I come watch you build a dome? He said, well, on our commercial projects with OSHA, they don't really want people standing around, but we really could use your help. So come work for us. We'll show you how we do it, how we build it, and it's been fun.
Well, thank you for letting us come, even though we're not yet in the industry. This goes out to all of our students in the Climate Mitigation and Adaptation Program at USF.
Okay.
We're trying to promote dome homes like this for Florida because of its potential for resiliency.
Right. We do have a lot of buildings that are already built in Mississippi, disaster shelters.
Right.
And FEMA funds a lot of the school disaster shelters. But a similar style, like this house, you can do a vertical wall with a dome on top, or you can do a masonry wall and hire yourself and come just put the
Right,
lid on it.
right. That's fascinating. I wonder, we just finished a study at USF on the PACE financing program for Florida. So people can do solar installs. PACE is property assessed clean energy. And we wonder if this would one day qualify for PACE financing. Before you go out, Maria, from inside your new house, what do you think?
Oh, wonderful. It's more spacious than what I thought before.
So you're really looking forward to living here?
Absolutely.
First time in your house. So that'll be the front door, eh?
So you cut it up good enough to get the air in. Yeah, see how much rebar ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's the rebar. Right, of course you move it all in before you start inflating. You get everything inside. That makes so much sense. Yep. So you got to get that rebar in here before you do the inflate. And of course the machinery. You got to get that in here before you inflate. But how was this brought in? Oh, it was done before the dome was fixed. So they laid down the tarp, brought in the equipment, then put the dome and battened it down.
He's the guy that asked right there.
So you bring everything in, of course, before you start work. So was it that you laid down your tarp, brought in the machinery and the rebar, then battened down the dome?
Yes.
That's brilliant. And if you happen to forget anything, what would you do?
So this is going to get cut all the way up there sooner or later.
Yes.
And this one here is all the way up to the top?
No.
No.
We had that in another dome that we actually took out. We will have to.
Not sure about that one yet.
No, we need to have to make it its normal shape. So we had that phenomenon on augment in another one. Part of it is it took a while to kind of figure out. Normally you have atmospheric pressure on the outside of this one, so you have positive pressure on the inside. And there you have neutral pressure because now you have pressure in the augment or the garage and the equal pressure here. So that basically wants to loosen up. We want it to be the normal shape. So we have to either have a vent somewhere else to keep quite a bit more pressure in this one versus that one.
Oh, so you just have that here and hold it in place.
Normally on a house, no. In this case, she's going to have a garage door here, and a garage door here, and a small little door going under her stairs. So the plans call for this wall to actually be just like the center wall. So we need to make this go to that shape. We'll have to figure out how to make sure that that works. Yeah, or adjust the pressure so that we have the right amount of pressure. Right now, this is wanting to pull, and so basically because there's equal positive pressure from the inside and negative pressure, no pressure on that side. There's pressure from both because they're connected. So now this material wants to give. It's not an issue for this door. This is an example. Here, we have a front door in this section. We leave this here just to make sure that this doesn't stretch. Because there's pressure right here. If I were to cut this out, this would just go right. So we keep this until we foam the inside in there. We foam the inside in here until we have a lot more strength. Then when we cut it out, it doesn't want to stretch so much because now we have, make sure we have foam, 3 inches of polyurethane foam that's strong and won't move.
Right.
Another thing
That's
we do
before
is
the rebar comes
before
in.
the rebar. Another thing is we can leave a thin strip through here and start spraying our concrete, our shotcrete. Once we get even a 1 inch of concrete in here, then we cut the rest of this out, and that little fabric that was here that's embedded in 1 inch of concrete is no big deal. It's just, you know what I mean? That fabric's just to keep the shape.
Yeah.
So all of those plywood forms on the outside are what will keep the garage walls plumb, this front door. As you look in here, this looks more like a balloon as opposed to a straight wall here and a straight wall here. Now, part of it is having the plan. I haven't had those for a while, so I can envision what's going to be. But the nice thing about this type of wall, if you build the walls and you build the ceiling, and the rebar is set for a structure, you can change the material walls all what you want. There's no load-bearing walls on that equipment, so that's an advantage.
And is it because it's in a dome shape that it just bears the load over the arch, so to speak? So you don't really worry about any. But if you built a second floor, you'd still have to put support beams,
Underneath,
of course.
or you do, the owner, Randy, has a cabin. He put anchors in the ceiling and had chains coming down supporting a second story loft that hung out. The ceiling supported the second floor.
Or is that so cool? Like a
All
bridge,
we needed to do is
a suspension bridge.
Yeah, his engineer called for some steel pipe. It's like, that's a little quarter wall, real heavy. He goes, I think you're a little. Sometimes the engineers like to make it 4 or 5 times more than you need. So he just used chain and had a clevis. We just embedded the bracket beforehand. When we build school gymnasiums, it's the same thing. We'll build brackets for hanging fans or basketball hoops. Lights, those type of things.
But is this enough of a dome, or do you say there's something else going to be domed on top of this? You said there's a hemi-dome.
No, yeah, this is, we would call it a low profile,
Okay.
so it isn't 2 to 1, it's more like 5 or 6 to 1 ratio.
But that still would be enough support.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it smells bad though. It's too strong for me.
As you're pregnant, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Wouldn't you love to live in something like this? It's gonna be 2 stories.
I love it.
Hugely spacious. Yeah.
When we go to, when we're done,
Yeah.
so as we spray it,
Yeah.
we'll
Uh-huh.
have probably 2 inches of sand, fallout sand. as we spray.
Okay.
So that'll bring that up. We will have to bring up some blocks and some
so then
dirt
they just
to
dry it
ramp
out.
this to get this up and out. Because like we said over there, she's only gonna have some man doors over there, narrow 3-foot wide doors. So this is designed to go out the front door.
At the front?
This one, and that's why I spoke about this fabric. If the fabric right now is actually bowed in, it isn't having a nice curvature to it, it doesn't matter for us here as long as the outside shape still looks good. This will be cut out. There, once I saw that inflated, I said, oh, we'll have to work on that to get that shape because that is going to be her wall. And we need that plumb,
Even around.
yeah, over there.
So
Because,
it's just gonna be like a 3-foot door.
yeah, this is just gonna have, it's gonna have 2 doors and she also has stairs.
And you said you'll be able to drive this out the front door.
The house is landing. Stairs come out to a landing, then they go up to another landing. So right here is going to be stairs. She's going to have a little half door under here to use this as storage.
Right. And then doors to get into the
And yeah, two regular doors there. One coming into her utility room, and one coming in towards her kitchen. So her kitchen is
And you said this will be able to drive out through that opening.
yeah. So hopefully it'll fit out that opening. We better double check.
So how long do you think it'll take to put up a rebar?
Probably about the rebar will probably take about a week.
About a week.
And then as we spray in,
first, right?
we have to do the foam.
And that's a couple days or? No.
Yeah, the foam that, well, first we have to build all the window frames and set them in place. So that's,
But you're not
takes some
cutting any
time.
fabric.
We don't cut any fabric.
All you're doing is wood frame, set
Yep.
it in place.
We build wood frames. We're going to use some of this OSB to make the frame window. We're going to use a vinyl exterior, kind of a nailer flange for the very outside. And then it's what we consider a rough buck. We will then pull those out at the end. We will pull the wood out, and the general contractor will then set his windows. He'll put in furring strips for his
Make it all pretty.
Florida flange windows. Up north, we don't have a Florida flange, a special window made for it.
For hurricane, is that what's...
Impact, but
Yeah.
also the way they set it back,
Oh.
typically in CMU houses here. So, that's the neat thing about Florida, you kind of have a specialized way to build.
So the county had to hire their own engineers to inspect it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you hadn't heard? Yeah. You got your hands.
For me in Idaho, the inspector comes in, and we were kind of on a time crunch, so we started spraying the shotcrete lower before we got up to the upper parts. And I told the inspector, I still have some more rebar. He comes in, looks 2 minutes, well, you look like you know what you're doing, because he had no clue. And he said, all right, and then he left. I'm like, but he's a really nice guy. They make sure you have your smoke detectors, and they make sure all those things, but here they review the plans, and I'm sure that
Make sure you
the
got
inspector
your
will check the rebar distances, lap splicing, which the engineer that Maria used is the same engineer who has done a lot of engineering for us on the dome. So for him, he looks at it and says, yeah, do this. Even if we have a question, he may say, hey, you can use more bar, this is the spacing, if you need a substitute. And that's simple for our inspector.
Well, and they must be heartened by the fact that you've done a whole bunch of these, so you're just replicating something. You're not doing new experimentation
Right.
overall here.
Right.
As opposed to what we like
Sometimes
to do.
Yeah.
sometimes the newness is sometimes the shape
Yeah.
of the structure. And
Does
so
that
that we want to make
change a
sure,
lot of-
sometimes depending on, in a sense, for example, augments how they will behave, because the material we want to stretch. Or for us, the challenge is to try to make it aesthetically pleasing. You will have wrinkles sometimes as the fabric comes together on the corners. Then on the plans, it looks like a nice straight line, but it's fabric, and fabric can stretch. And so we try to make sure that there aren't so many wrinkles, but sometimes you get a little wrinkle. So if a customer wants to use stucco, then they can kind of make it a little more pretty on the exterior.
And that's the contractor gonna do that.
Yeah, typically, or sometimes it's an owner contractor. For example, for me, I wanted one for myself in Idaho, and so I ended up having to learn certain things. How do you put a TJI hanger on a corner twisted as all these joists come into a curve, a compound curve?
How does the change in shape for aesthetics affect the load bearing? How would a change in shape for aesthetics affect the load bearing characteristics of this? Like, you're going out of perfect dome,
So what are we breathing right now?
The engineer would
No, I mean,
he will do calculations on the load depending on what Here we have a vertical wall, so they do the calculations of how much bar that we need to put in.
so it
we
really
don't
is about the bar, isn't it?
Yeah,
the
mostly
bar and
about
the
rebar
concrete,
when we
yeah.
have concrete.
And because it's a monolithic pour, right? This is a monolithic dome home. There isn't any joints that you have to worry about. Or there's no cold joints, right? Is that the word, cold joint, where
Right.
you
We
poured
don't
cement
put
on?
it in. We do layers over rough material, over
Right.
rough concrete. So we actually will do layers, 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch layers at a time.
So it really is one solid structure at the end of the day. Oh, that's why they can handle Cat
Well,
5.
the engineers, for example, you have a structure here and a structure because it's a garage. They will tell us, okay, you're fine with putting, for example, 3-bar splicing as it goes up through this arch. And so, so we do that. We just try to follow the engineers prescribed.
Cool. I'm very impressed. I hope this will be one of many, many, many that we start seeing here. Letting it drain.
so when are you gonna have to come to your class?
Gee, welcome anytime. You should be a guest speaker. How long are they here for?
They're here for 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Can we come as well to see some of the other parts of the process?
You guys are gonna ask.
Is it? I know you said about the Idaho restrictions. Is it possible for me to come and see some more of the process, or is that something that gets too difficult?
No, also Monolithic, the company that it's a sister company to South Industries, built the Airform, manufactured.
Right.
They offer dome workshops. They also offer dome tours. And so you can go to monolithic.org, and they have a few times a year where people who are interested can tour different domes. And the owners usually are excited to show their house.
Yeah.
And so they can do different tours.
Cool.
But you'd be happy to have some students come walk through, take a look. Is that an echo in here?
Yeah, but also, you know what was interesting?
I was wondering about the smell.
Oh, this
That's the off-gassing of the.
How much of this can we tolerate before we're all gonna turn blue? And
That's a good question.
why don't we go outside? We're just gonna be talking. Right, that's it. That's what it does.
Is this glued down here, or just tight? No, just battens. No glue, just
With our
battens.
tab cups, yeah.
Go out the airlock.